I'm Ashley Comer. I own Carnegie Coffee Company. I have 3 children. So I am a mother and I am married. I am a yoga teacher as well. I don't know if you knew that
I didn't know
about
that.
me. I haven't taught since before the pandemic though. And I also lead international women's retreats, which is like a real passion of mine. I love to travel. And I am many other things, but it's hard to fit them all into a short description.
That's okay. That's perfect.
Thanks.
So I didn't know that you were a yoga teacher and
Yeah.
led women's retreats too.
Yeah.
How did you get into that?
As you know, I lived abroad for a year. And actually, the first international retreat that I did was before COVID, right before COVID happened, February 2020. I was teaching yoga a lot before the pandemic, like all throughout the city of Pittsburgh. And when I first did my teacher training, I made it my goal to pay myself back for my teacher training because I'm a Virgo and a type A personality. And I was like, I'm going to do my teacher training and then I'm going to pay myself back in a year. So I took every single job I could, all while having 3 kids and also, I know, and also running a business. So I got like every job I could and I decided that I also wanted to do a retreat because I love to travel.
Okay.
And then combining that with teaching yoga every day. I mean, I think part of the reason that I really love teaching yoga is because it's not only are you teaching people or not teaching people, but guiding people through relaxation and breathing, guiding other people through that. But when you're teaching, you also regulate yourself. Teaching yoga was extremely regulating for me. So I miss it a lot because it was like such a beneficial practice as a human for me. So before COVID, I led my first retreat, and then COVID happened. A crazy turn of events led to my husband and me and 2 of our children moving abroad for a year. While we were living in Nicaragua, which is where we moved, I met a couple people and we decided that we were going to lead these retreats. And now I've done a few of them. It's not exactly a yoga retreat anymore. It's just like a fun retreat, surfing, like hiking, volcano hikes and stuff. And it's just a way of showing someone like, hey, you can get out there and do something really cool and you don't need to be afraid of the world.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Have you always been like that, unafraid of the world, or is that something you developed over time?
I grew up, I didn't really go on an airplane until I was like 19 years old. So as far as travel goes, I didn't grow up traveling, but as far as like being unafraid, I think that probably just came with like losing people as a child. It's probably just like, I wasn't afraid of anything because I was just like, oh, fuck everything. Yeah, I think I just was like, oh, well, I've always kind of had that attitude about life. Like, what's the worst that can happen?
Do you think that that comes from loss at a young age?
Probably.
Can you
Yeah.
talk to me a little bit about that?
I think that probably a lot of people who have experienced like trauma have a similar attitude like that. Like, or actually maybe, I think probably there's 2 ends of the spectrum. There's either like fuck everything or there's being afraid of everything. I think probably, yeah, I know some people on this side of it, you know? But I started telling you that I lost my brother when I was a teenager, which was, I don't want to say that's a more significant loss than my dad when I was a child, but I was like way more sentient when I was 18 years old, obviously. And that is something that like, I feel like changed the trajectory of my life. And that's when I really became like, really fuck everything. Like, and I'm just going to like live life however I want. And I'm just going to do whatever I want and see what happens. And I still kind of have that attitude. Like, I don't know, I have a tattoo that says you can't tell me what to do. But I don't know. I don't do like dangerous things, but
But you live for yourself.
yeah. Yes.
I love that.
Thanks.
So you mentioned the loss of your dad and your brother.
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you? Did you process as it was happening, or was that something that came later for you?
It was definitely something that came later. I was 18 when my older brother passed away, so it was my senior year of high school. I just kind of kept going because what else are you going to do? Like, I graduated high school, I started college, and it was hard, but I just, you can't stop. Life just keeps on moving. And that was the early 2000s. This is before people talked about trauma, and he died suddenly. It's not like, it just wasn't something that people stopped and talked about. Like, hey, are you all right? Maybe you're depressed. Maybe you might have PTSD because of this thing that happened to you that was so devastating. And, I went to college. As soon as when I was in college, I met my now husband. I married him as soon as I graduated. I had a baby 9 months later, and I had a family immediately. And then I had another child, started a business, and here I am. And at 42 years old, I just started therapy 2 years ago for what I consider to be like actually starting the process of grieving for my brother who I lost when I was 18 years old. That's a lot of years to go in a state of like, I don't know, maybe frozen, the kind of states that we live in are like fight, flight, freeze. I think I was probably frozen for a very long time. But when you're in that state as a parent or a friend or even like a boss or a partner, that's not a healthy place to be. So, I said I was gonna cry during this. Like, I talked about regulating yourself regulating myself while teaching yoga. Like, I look back at the kind of parent that I was when I first had my kids, or the type of manager that I was when I first opened my business. I was much younger, but I definitely wasn't capable of just like stopping and breathing and realizing like, okay, what state am I in right now? And it took me to this point to even be able to recognize it, let alone even do anything about it and control it. People should learn those skills when they're a child, not when they're 42 years old.
Right.
So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So was there a moment that you realized that you were stuck in freeze? Like, what kind of shook you out of that?
Oh God, this is like a little bit embarrassing. So I said that I like to travel. My family and I love to travel. We lived abroad for a year, and then one summer after that, we spent the entire summer abroad. So we're in Spain for the summer 1 year, and we were all kind of like fighting with each other during dinner, and then it like got a little out of hand. Like, we're kind of making fun of each other, and then it got like a little mean. And it was myself and my son, and we were being a little mean, and then it turned into like a bigger fight. And after that night, I was like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to have this family of 5 that's like being mean to each other, because that doesn't feel safe or good. And I'm not going to say that that's how I grew up, because that's not necessarily true at all. I felt like the home that I grew up in was safe and loving, but it didn't feel like a good, soft place, which is like what your home should feel like with your mom and dad and your siblings.
Yeah.
And after that, I was like, I should not be like that. That's like hard and mean. And like, if you're something that I feel like I have taken away from therapy is like, if you're like so hard and closed off that you can be mean to the people who are like closest to you, like you gotta soften and like open up. And I don't know, that was like a huge takeaway from therapy for me.
Okay. So that was kind of the moment that shifted things for
Oh
you.
yeah. I'm pretty embarrassed by that.
Oh.
I'm getting seriously vulnerable here. But I think an important part about that story is that I was not at home. I was like outside of my like normal setting. Okay. But I was with my container, which is my family, which in my mind is always my little home. And I'm always having this conversation, and my kids always make fun of Greg and I for saying, what is home? Everywhere we go, what does it really mean? What does home really mean? They are constantly making fun of us for saying that. And I feel like that is so corny.
I don't think that it is.
The container of the 5 of us is what.
That is your home, right?
Yeah. And sometimes you need to be away from like the physical home and Pittsburgh and everything and just be the 5 of you, like, or, the 2 partners or something, to like strip away everything else so that you can like really see the heart of the container, which is your family.
So what does home mean to you?
Man, I don't know. I keep trying to figure that out. Softness, like a really safe and soft little container where everyone can like be themselves. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure that out. And I want to provide that for people, but like I said, I'm still trying to learn.
Do you feel that a physical home is still important, even though you know that home is in your people?
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm always trying to create that everywhere. But I've moved like 15 times in my life. So the physical space is important to me too. Like I love like curating something that's beautiful and that feels cozy, and that when you look around, it like feels like comforting. But also, yeah, I could step outside of that as long as I have like the core part. And I think, the most important part would be like probably at some point being able to feel like your home is yourself. But there's probably a lot of work to be done to find that completely on your own. I don't know if I'm 100% there yet.
What has that process been like for you of coming home to yourself?
Just like, oh man, it's been an emotional week. Just like if I could describe it physically, like just like cracking open. Like, do you identify with that?
Oh, absolutely. I've been there, so I can relate.
Yeah, like just like you're just like breaking open, and like you can feel it physically, like especially as time goes on, and I can feel myself become softer. I can feel myself become less rigid. I like used to butt heads with my son all the time because we're extremely similar people. The older he gets and the more we get along with each other, I just feel like melty, like just so much softer when I look at him. Like, wow, my heart is like breaking open. That's the only way I can describe it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I kind of want to circle back to how intentional you are about curating a space. And I want to talk about how you bring that to Carnegie Coffee Company. Can you talk to me a little bit about the growth of that company and like where it all began and where it is now?
Yeah. It's so funny because it was not like my idea to have the coffee house. And it's sort of like, it was actually Greg's idea. So that Greg owned a pharmacy that was down the street. So before we opened the coffee house, Greg had a small pharmacy that was where the Get-Go is now. And in 2011, Giant Eagle bought the land where his pharmacy was and said like, hey buddy, you need to move down the street. You need to get out. This is our land now. So we're going to build a gas station. You got to go. And we were like, oh no, where are we going to go? Where do we put this pharmacy that is our living? So for a while he was like, should I build a new building somewhere in this town, or should I move into another spot on the main street? And we found the post office building. It was owned by a commercial developer, and we were like, hey, let's maybe move the pharmacy into like a wedge of this building and then build this cool coffee house around it. And Greg always had the dream of having a coffee house. And we had been traveling a little bit at this point. Our kids were young, and we had been traveling with them since they were born and since before they were born. So we love like cafe culture, which really, I mean, it doesn't exist so much in Pittsburgh. And honestly, like the United States doesn't have great cafe culture as it is, So we're like, let's like open a coffee house, like a European style coffee house. And for me, I thought, okay, well, this is like great. I can make this like beautiful space. We'll already have customers because people will be coming into the pharmacy. This is wonderful. So we were renovating the space for a year and a half. We opened the coffee house. We like wedged the pharmacy into the space, and was wonderful because I could pick out all these beautiful furnishings and make it look great. And then I had, tiny kids and was like, all right, go. No experience. I had never worked in service. Never. Like, I mean, I have a degree in philosophy and religious studies.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. This is not very useful. I mean, I think actually most people in service have like degrees like that.
For sure.
But like I worked at a school when I graduated from college, and then I had kids. That's like what I did with my life. So no experience in service. And yeah, I was just like, oh, well, somebody else will be the barista. Within a couple months, I was like, wow, okay, this is my business. I better learn how to run it. I better quickly learn how to be a barista because no one's going to treat your business like you do.
No.
And so I realized, okay, well, I can't just like come in here and have my little baby with me. And that's when I had to get to work. That was like 6 months in. Like, okay. Whoa, hey, you better start taking this seriously. And then very quickly it became my home. And at the time when I would have had my next child, it became my next child. And it was like birthing. Like, and it has changed so many times over the years. At first, I was really excited about having this like cool community space because at the time, like I was familiar with the people of Carnegie because Greg had owned his pharmacy there for probably 10 years at that point when we moved it to the post office. So we knew a lot of people. And I was really excited, like, okay, the only other community space there is the library. And this is a space where people can come, they can use the Wi-Fi, they can spend $2, or they don't have to spend anything to sit in this nice space, hang out, read a book. It's a safe place. Mm-hmm. And I felt really proud to offer that. There's really nothing else on that main street. And then over the years, I think it just became such an extension of me, like you were saying. It just, because I have spent so much time there, it started becoming like an extension of me and also Greg and just like our home. Like COVID happened and my kids did their online school at the shop because there was no one else to work. I was the only one. I mean, I had like a handful of employees during that time, but my kids, I set up desks for them upstairs and I was like, sorry. I mean, like too young to stay home by themselves. And if I wanted to be open, they had to be there. In 2021, Greg sold his pharmacy and we renovated the space where the pharmacy was and turned it into a dining room, built our kitchen out, and really our business really, really took off after that. Things really got crazy after that. But that's when I think I stopped teaching yoga. My kids were older and I like really threw myself into the business. And I don't know, that was after we took our year in Nicaragua. And that's when I think it really became like, I can't describe it. That's when it became like my true home. And it became like, it started feeling like this is my life's work. Greg's life's work was out and it was like, this is me. This is all mine. And before this, I was like wife and mother and supporting him in his profession. And then when his profession moved out and gave us the ability to like expand our business together, the creative force was mine. And that's when things like exploded.
Wow.
Yeah.
It seems like this is kind of happening in parallel to you coming home to yourself.
Yeah.
Do you
absolutely.
feel like it kind of all mirrors?
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm just like, now see. I guess I've kind of like witnessed it, mm-hmm. but it's true. Yes. And there's a level of confidence that comes with that. Mm. And I remember saying to my friends when I was your age, I remember saying oh my gosh. And actually I was at like a little bar, like really close to here, which is crazy because I did not live in this neighborhood. I do not know what I'm going to do with myself when I grow up. And I was your age when I had Allison. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like I have these kids and I'm so young and what am I going to do? Like I don't have a thing. And now I'm like,
you have a thing.
Yeah. And I don't feel like I'm just like wife and mom. I like doing something and I'm so fortunate because it's something that I love so much. And to kind of bring it around, it not only does it feel like my home, but there's so many people, I think, that not just the customers that come in that feel safe there, but I have 20 employees who I know feel cared for and loved in that workplace and feel like we have such little turnover. There's people that work for us have worked for us for years. It's just like a family. And yeah, it's just...
You've created such a safe space for people.
Yeah, it feels really good. I'm very proud of it.
Yeah. Is that part of what drives you to do what you do, is to create that safety for other people?
Absolutely. Yes, for sure.
And do you think that comes from your desire to feel safe too?
Oh, for sure. Yes.
I think I want to kind of talk about the transformation that you've seen since starting therapy and really coming home to yourself. In what ways have you changed, and in what ways has your life changed because of that?
Yeah. I don't know if it's funny because I know that my family is going to watch it. And I don't know if they would agree, but I know personally that I feel, oh, that's it. I feel, period. Oh my gosh, that is probably the first time I've ever even said that statement. Like, and probably just at the beginning of this conversation, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. And that is still true about lots of things, but probably so many things that I've done in my life have been like trying to chase like adrenaline or some kind of thing. And for the first time in my life, I really can like access my emotions, and they're not just me being like mad. And that was my like number one and pretty much only emotion for a really long time.
It seems like you had walls up, and like you describing breaking open is
Yeah.
probably you bringing those walls down
Yep.
and really feeling. Has that been a difficult journey for you, or does it feel like it's a coming home? And like, is it hard but also feels natural?
It is hard because it's extremely vulnerable, and it can be, pretty embarrassing, I guess. Like my two older kids are like practically adults. I mean, Sam's 25 and Rocco is 17. And so when Sammy's starting a master's degree in education, and she just got a book that's about regulating your emotions. And we were talking about it, and I'm making fun of myself. I'm just like, well, maybe you could just like help me out with that.
You're like, you gonna teach me that?
Yeah, like maybe you could like work with me on that. But seriously, like I really have like lived so much of my life like not even being able to like access sadness. And that it's just crazy to like look at your adult children and say like I've been like raging out for 20 years. Yeah. And I guess at the same time it's kind of beautiful to be able to like feel happy and feel sad also.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's beautiful that you're able to recognize all of this, and like it really speaks to how much you've grown to even be able to see that about yourself, because I think a lot of people go their whole lives with never realizing that.
Yeah. It's like a pretty scary way to live, being mad all the time. That's like so terrible. Mm-hmm. And just like experiencing certain things and being like, oh my gosh, that like brings me joy. That's so nice. It makes me have so many regrets, and that is really sad. But the only thing that you can do is just like keep moving forward and like, I guess apologize to people. Like, right. Sorry I raged at you for your whole life. But
I guess that's the journey of life, though, is that constant coming home to yourself.
Yep.
And learning from your past. Thank you for being so vulnerable with me, too.
Thanks.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for like providing a space for that, because it's really nice to be able to like share that with someone that's not like in the container.
Right.
Because they see it all the time. They're probably like, oh God, Mom.
So what would you title this chapter of your life?
Oh, whoa. I mean, like the easy one would be like coming home. Right? I just like stole that one from you. It probably something about like opening up or something. I really have to think about that. It's hard to, I'm not the type of person that's like, oh, look at that amazing like coincidence that happened, or wow. But like we moved into this house a year ago, and this house is like the absolute like amalgamation of like every house we ever lived in. And we, like I said, we've moved like a bunch of times. Everything about this house reminds me of like every house we've ever lived in. It's like so perfect for our family. Greg's parents moved in with us, and they live on the third floor in their own like independent apartment. Greg's daughter just moved home from Madrid, also just came home. She like lives in her own, they're two like completely separate independent apartments on the third floor that have like there's a back staircase and a separate entrance and everything. And like this, we all always say, doesn't it feel like we've always lived here? Doesn't this house feel like we've always lived in it? And from the minute we moved in, I feel like I've always lived in this house. And for this to be the timing is really strange, like a really odd coincidence. And my mother-in-law is always saying like, I'm home. Like when she moved in, she was so happy. They were living in a nursing home, and it was extremely expensive. So the reason that we moved them here was because it was just so expensive that like the other option was when they like basically ran out of money to live in this nice nursing home, they would have to move to like nursing care, like a state-run hospital. And we were like, we're not doing that. And that was one of the reasons that we bought this house, because we knew that we would have the space for them. So when we brought them here, she's blind, so she's sitting there and she's like, I'm just home now. And it's just so sweet because she hadn't been in a space that felt like that for 2 years.
Wow.
Or probably 2.5 years. And like that was just like such a good feeling for me. And also multi-generational living is like an awesome thing to do. And the rest of the world does that, and we should do it too. Yeah, I don't know. I'm home now. That's my name. That's the name of my chapter.
I like it. I like it.
I'm never moving again.
Do you think that this is like forever for you
I
guys?
don't know. I hope so. I really like it here.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's kind of crazy for you to feel that,
I know.
think, after moving around.
I know. And also like just feeling like really grounded and not, that is something I can say that I have never felt before. Like I don't have the desire to be like, gotta get out. And I always have that feeling. And I love traveling and I love getting away. And I really don't have that feeling so much. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good where I am.
That's a great place to be.
Yeah, it feels really good.
I'm happy for you.
Thanks.
And then the last question I have for you is, what are you learning to love about yourself?
Ooh, this is another question that my family would laugh at. That even if I just know in my own brain that I'm not right, it's okay to not always be right. And that I can be vulnerable even with myself. I have always just been like, I'm like right, and I'm like angry, and I'm all the time like I'm the one who is in charge.
So you're learning not to be that way all the
Yeah, and even like I can admit to myself like, okay, I was wrong. Okay, that wasn't a nice thing to say. Okay, I don't want to be like that. I can apologize to someone. I can feel, like I was saying, feel something other than just like being mad or being detached or, yeah.
Well, I think it takes a lot of like stripping away the ego to get to that point.
Yeah.
That's awesome that you're able to recognize that and really take ownership in that way. And I love that you're able to take it on your walls and feel.
Yeah, me too. It's a little bit scary, but it's a much better place to be. And it's kind of like really nice.
For sure. It feels really hard when you're going through it, but then when you're actually embodying that, it feels good.
Yeah, it does.
Well, thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
I like to leave any space at the end if you want to say anything directly to anyone watching this.
Thank you for having me. It's really cool. Probably I should thank my therapist for being awesome. And I should probably also thank my family for loving me, even though I'm not always easy to love, and seeing me through all this time. So, I mean, I guess like all the customers that come into the coffee house and recognize or not even recognize, but like feel at home there, don't even necessarily recognize that it is intentional, but feel at home in that space. And maybe outwardly, maybe I've had these like really strong walls up, but outwardly the like love language is like trying to create the home for everybody. If I couldn't do it from like here, I was at least able to do it like out here around me.
Aw. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.